So just some reminders before we get into the video. First reminder is to make sure that you're keeping an eye out and an ear out for the keyword for this lesson. Reminder number 2 is to make sure you're taking notes. Include the date, lesson number, aim, and standards to help you refer back in your notes. Let's get to it. Okay, so welcome back. Today we are continuing with Unit 1, Lesson 5. We're going to be discussing how to use order of operations to solve complex problems. Today is going to be our first day. So our warm-up for today is going to be, what do you remember about PEMDAS? So I'll give you a moment to think about that. What do you remember about PEMDAS? So if you had different types of teachers, every teacher teaches it a little bit differently. Gemdas, you could have heard it as, PEMDAS, you could have heard as Gemdas, which means the same thing. You're saying groupings or parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and then addition and subtraction. The thing that you really have to remember is that with addition and subtraction and multiplication and division, you're moving from left to right. So whichever operation is going to come first when you're going from left to right. Again, that's for multiplication as well as addition and subtraction. You're going to go from left to right in the expression. Okay, let's try our first example. So here we have 1.5 times 3/4 minus 1/2. So again, we're going to be following order of operations, or Gemdas or PEMDAS. We need to make sure we're applying our rules for integers as well. So here we want to deal with our parentheses. So we have 3/4. I'm just going to rewrite everything, 3/4 minus, and I'm going to convert this to an improper fraction. 1.5 turns into 3/2. And then we have a half, 1.5 out here, it turns out into 3/2 as well. So I have my 3/2 times 3/4 minus 3/2. In order to subtract, I need to make sure that we have a common denominator. So that means here I'm going to take my numerator and my denominator, multiply in order to get my common denominator, which in this case is going to be 4. So I'm going to multiply by 2, my numerator and denominator. So I have 3/4 minus 6/4. I'm going to combine them so I know that I'm subtracting a positive and a negative, or I'm adding a positive and negative, two different signs, so I need to take the difference. It's 3/4, and I know that 6/4 is my larger absolute value, so I'm going to take a negative 3/4. I'm going to bring the 3/2 down, and remember there's parentheses around here, so 3/2 multiplied by our negative 3/4, because those parentheses are representing multiplication, because there's no sign in between either one of them. So it's not addition, it's not subtraction or division, you would be multiplying. So here we have 3/2 times negative 3/4, we get 3 times 3 is 9, 4 times 2 is 8, and it would be negative because a negative times a positive is always a negative. I'm going to simplify this, and my answer is going to be negative 1 1/8. And there we have it. That is our answer for number 1. Let's go to our second problem. We have a justify reasoning. So we are asked to explain how you'd find the sign of the quotient without solving the problem. So without getting a numerical value, we need to solve this. So if we have a negative value, we're dividing that by another negative value, and that is going to give us a positive value. So negative divided by a negative is a positive. And then in our denominator, we have a negative that's being divided by a positive. So that's going to equal or give us, result in a negative answer. So now if you see, we have a positive over a negative value. So that's basically saying we have a positive divided by a negative. So positive divided by a negative would equal a negative. So we know that the sign of the quotient would be negative. And showing this is justifying, it's showing our evidence to why our answer would be negative. Okay, so the second part, or 2A, try it on your own, pause the video here and see if you can figure it out, and then we will come back and go over it. Okay, so we're back and we are going to follow our order of operations. So this is the first thing that we are going to do because our parentheses, there's nothing else in there except for the -1/8. There's nothing to actually simplify. So we have -1/2 times -1/2. This is going to give me a positive 1/4. Then we're going to combine, we have plus -1/8 divided by 2. So this is going to be our next step. We're going to do division, which we would have -1/8, keep, change, flip. So we're going to change and then flip to 1/2. So we kept, changed, and flipped. So we have -1/8 times 1/2. We're going to get -1/16. We're going to bring down the 1/4, and it's going to be added to our -1/16, which can be rewritten as 1/4 minus 1/16. And again, we need a common denominator because we have subtraction. So our common denominator would be 16. In order to get that, we have to multiply both numerator and denominator by 4. So 4 minus 1, 4/16 minus 1/16, we're going to get 3/16 as the answer. Okay. Remember to always follow order of operations, and you're also including your integer rules now. So let's try number 3 on your own. Pause the video. It's a real life problem. Try it out, and then we'll go over it together. Okay, so important facts we want to pull out of our word problem. So Paul has 2 different jobs. When he walks dogs, he's going to make $10.25 per hour. When he delivers pizza, he makes $8.50 per hour. You want to know how much money he's going to earn if he works 8 hours delivering pizza and 6 hours walking dogs. So that's what we have to figure out. So for dogs, we're going to add that to the amount of pizza, or amount of he earns from delivering pizza. Okay, so let's start out with how much he makes for walking a dog. We have $10.25 times the amount of hours he works, which is 6 hours. And then we're going to add that to the amount he earns for pizza. So we have $8.50 times 8 hours, and then we're going to get his total. So $10.25 times 6, you're going to get $61.50. You want to do multiplication first. Parentheses, so we have $8.50 times 8. That's $68. And when you combine them, you are going to get $129.50. So that's what you're going to write, $129.50 as your answer. And there you have it. So if you're in class, please make sure to continue and complete your independent work. If you're at home, make sure you are checking Google Classroom for your assignments. See you in the next video.